plus the cycles, we all have these 7-year cycles where our bodies change, and the motorcycle gave way to the bicycle, and the cycles, and it was just
and the cycles of life,
and the cycles of life, and everything, and people just love the title, and it goes round, and they're tying in with the bicycles, and there's a lot about bicycles in here, but it doesn't take over. It's more about the people, the life, and the synchronous moments, and how we're more alike than we're this similar. And that, what I think has become the magic of this book is everyone's coming back to me saying that. Because after I gave it to my mom, the woman in Ireland who helped me edit it, I could send her on the computer, and she sent it back to me and say, Joe, you know what? I really like this book, and I want to give it to my son because he needs a bit of inspiration right now. I think we should go the next step, and so we did, And
so originally it was just going to be for your mom.
It was just going to be for my mom, and that was it, and I put a lot of work into it. It took 2 years to get it to that, and so it took another 7 months to edit it down. See, into the small version.
What was it, 2,000 pages?
No. It was just I put more pictures in and tidying up the sentences and did a lot of that, and like I said, I think it works in a continuous flow. And it works, quite well. And in this last part of the book, I was looking for, that deeper, saying, what's this change? I was 34, been on the road now for nearly 13 years, and I was like, okay, my time on the road has been great, but I was a little tempted at wanting to go into China. I was thinking, do I feel like cycling alone in China? But I was like, well, let it lie. See what happens. And I did, and I let it, sink in. And China had always been my political nemesis. I always, because of the Tibetan thing, because my environmental side and my political side had been open for all those years. I was very aware of what was going on, and I was like, China, yeah, I'd like to see it, I want to go, but something's holding me back. What is it? Is it fear? Are you scared to cycle alone? But I didn't know what I wanted to do, and I'll just read you here a little thing right here. I'd always felt blessed to be able to be on the road since the first time I straddled my motorcycle back in 1983. But now I felt that I was just 1 or 2 steps to the right of where I wanted to be. I knew I was thinking too much and decided that I would shut my brain down and go to an English-speaking movie, playing in one of the many movie theaters in town after eating my soup, which was Hong Kong at the time. I was in Hong Kong there. I had made it to Australia. I had ridden my bicycle back across America. I had cycled down all the places I motorcycled. I cycled, and I went down to Central America on my bicycle. So I rode from New York to Panama, and I stopped in Australia and saw my friends from the first time I lived there again. So I felt almost I was tying up my travel life, but where was it going? So I didn't get my boat ticket yet. So I walked by the place to buy boat tickets into China from Hong Kong. Something said, don't buy it yet. Head back to your hostel and see what happens. And like so many times in the past, I started slowly to feel right. Because I was now living through my feelings. I was trying to face them as they arose, as I always had in the past. But feeling them and trying to hear what they were saying instead of trying to analyze them logically. I knew that I did want to cycle in China. I had always wanted to. Now I was right here on its doorstep, a boat ride away. Maybe that was making me nervous. I also did not purchase any boat tickets, but I made a positive step to get to China. I paid an agency a small fee and got my visa paperwork rolling. No waiting in the embassy line all day to be told you don't have the correct photo. The agency took care of everything. Since being back on Kowloon, I was feeling better about heading into China. Just being around a few travelers I had met and hearing some of their positive stories was beginning to make me feel excited. The next morning, I decided I would go get my visa. I was coming back from the agency, clutching my 3-month visa. I felt ready now. 3 months. Would I last 3 months cycling in China? As I turned the corner, back to my hostel, I saw, leaned over on a very low kickstand, a loaded touring bike, right outside the Victoria hostel where I was staying. I walked up the stairs of the hostel and saw a new face coming down, a young guy wearing cycling shorts. Is that your bike outside, I asked? Sure is, came the reply. Are you just coming from China? I asked, figuring I'd get some good travel advice from another cyclist, as cyclists face different obstacles those met by backpackers on buses and trains. And actually, I've just been living in Taiwan, but I'm heading into China tomorrow. I felt a little jump of excitement. I'm traveling by bike as well, I said. Really? Where's your bike? He asked, surprised in what I was now recognizing to be a Canadian accent. Up behind one of the walls in the hostel, I answered. Oh, have you been cycling in China? He asked with expectation in his voice. No, not yet. just dragging my feet about getting a boat ticket. Got my visa in hand, though. I held up my small bag with all the necessary paperwork in it. What have you been doing in Taiwan for the past 9 months? Studying Chinese so I can enjoy my trip in China more. I cycled through Europe and didn't speak the languages that well. I felt I missed so much, so I didn't want the same to happen here. He seemed like a nice guy. Would you mind some cycling company, I asked? I'd love some company, he said quickly, then added, I cycled alone a lot in Europe, but think it would be nice to have someone else to ride with. I met this guy in Taiwan who attempted to ride from China across Tibet alone 3 times. Sounded pretty lonely. And the funny thing is, Marie, that guy he met, who tried to cycle across Tibet, was a friend of mine from Japan. And so Kent and I, this man, we wound up getting a boat together, cycling for 3 months in China together, had a fantastic time, and when it was time for him...
He knew the language better than you?
He knew the language. I was able to read some of the written stuff because I lived in Japan, and the written languages are similar, but the spoken is very different. So I had my tutor, and I think, so we did about, nearly 3 months together. When we got up in the Tibetan highlands, he had to go back home for a wedding, and he had other things to do, and we were now up on the highlands, and we were passed by a bus a few days earlier, and so we pulled into this hospital in the highlands, and right heading towards the Tibetan plateau, and I was in the courtyard looking at the map saying, okay, Kent's gone, I was like, okay, I'm supposed to be in China now, I feel good, I felt things were wrapping up, I was like, okay, I know I'm looking for something, now, what is it, maybe I'm headed back to New York, but travel's all over, I'll go back to New York, settle down now, but again, I wasn't sure, because I still loved Europe, but I was like, okay, but I feel cool, I'm settled, I'm not running, I accomplished what I wanted to, 13 years of being on the road and everything, and I had renewed my visa, because I was 3 months, but I was way out in Western China, so another month, and so I had 6 weeks or whatever, because we were up there, and a couple of Western women we noticed in the hospital, in the place we were staying, and one of them was looking over my shoulder at the map. She was going, "Ooh, that's a nice map. Where'd you get it?" And she liked maps, and I said, "Oh, well, me and my friend cycled." And she goes, "Oh, are these your bikes? We passed you on the bus about 3 days ago." And I said to my friends, look, Westerners on bikes. And so we started talking, and her English accent was very lovely. Getting lulled in, the fact that she loved maps, and we were talking, and they were doing a hike, so we decided to do this hike together. And we did this hike together, and we realized we walked at the same pace, and our little hike turned into a romance. And the romance butted into me saying, "Why don't you get a bike and come into Tibet with me?" And she did.
Oh, wow.
She called her mom, and she took the bike into Tibet with me, and that's Angie.
The rest is history, huh?
The rest is history. 2 kids later, and here we are. And I just like to end what we were talking about in the last 3 paragraphs in the epilogue here. It says, our choices as human beings are much more powerful than our choices as Americans, British, Italians, Mexicans, or whatever other label we can use to define our diverse race scurrying around on the face of planet Earth. I hope that my stories, saved from dozens of journals, ties the thread through each and every one of us, and that by sharing them with a wider audience, I help to put a human face on problems we see as existing elsewhere. There is no elsewhere. We are all here. I discovered that the gray areas make life complicated, but to draw everything in black or white makes it too simple. How could this small planet spinning around at 1,000 miles per hour, 100 million miles away from the life-giving sun, be that simple? The gray areas, I'm only beginning to realize, are not gray at all. They're all the colors of the rainbow. The difference in our religious beliefs, the way we dress, the music we listen to, the love we share, childbirth, thunderstorms, vibrant sunsets, the oceans crashing onto the shores, fruit growing on trees is all just ordinary. But even the most ordinary daily occurrence is quite magical. That is the wonder of life on Earth.
Right.
Yeah.
Amen. That's true.
Yep. Well, thank you, Marie. That was great.
Good to see you.
Lovely to see you, too.